Let's move on to the next topic. USA camp is underway, but the conversation remains on the players not in Las Vegas. So CJ McCollum is among the top players who turned down the chance to play in the World Cup. When asked why on the Woj Pod, CJ had an interesting take. Let's listen.
If it was moved up earlier, if it wasn't so much travel between, if it wasn't so close to the September 30 deadline, a lot of guys would have been more likely to do it. But I think the other thing that changed is the state of the NBA is different than it's been in a long time. There's a lot of teams competing for a championship now. You know, every year it's different based on who's the favorites and what's open, what's not open, team movement, roster movement, etc. But I think everybody feels like they have a chance.
All right, so here we go. BS or real talk in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm going to go all real talk. Go ahead, Jonathan, you start.
I just don't think NBA teams want their players playing in the World Cup. I mean, you look at Giannis, went through such a long season with the Bucks, now needs to join the Greek national team August 1, potentially going all the way to September 15th, then going almost straight into the NBA, preseason. That's a crazy long season for a guy like that who plays with the amount of force that he does, who carries such a heavy load. And so, Giannis feels some obligation, I think, to Greece to do it because in the years past he didn't. And I think that there's the Bucks would probably rather, he sit out a couple of these exhibition games maybe, but Giannis just isn't wired that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, good luck.
Do that.
You would know best, right?
So
good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the reason you're seeing, Ben Simmons inks an extension and the next day pulls out of the Australian national team. Mm-hmm. I just don't think NBA teams want their players playing in this. And then not to mention, a guy like Zion goes to USA Basketball, and is around all these guys. They start talking about super teams and stuff. I'm not sure if that's what all these NBA teams want their young guys talking about right now.
Well, out of the ashes of when the Miami Heat Big Three dissolved, rose the Golden State Warriors. And now the Golden State Warriors Big Three has dissolved or been injured or a little bit of both. And so for the first time since that happened, the league feels wide open and everybody feeling like they have a chance. Certainly not every chance is created equally. That being said, there is a real vacancy that a lot of teams think that they have a chance to fill. And load management was a term that we heard a lot last season, and that was just talking about the NBA season. That's not to mention the summer workouts and Team USA schedule and all of that. So if teams are already doing load management during the summer, they want their guys taking the summer off because they have a whole season to play and a title run to make. And so it's going to be a trend that I think we see continue.
I couldn't agree with you more. If you really look at it, we did this show a couple of weeks ago here on The Jump where how many teams had a realistic chance or what we call the puncher's chance at winning a championship. I had 8, okay? I had 6 in the Western Conference, the 2 LA teams, the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, who am I missing? The Houston Rockets, and the Warriors, right, the Warriors. And you know what? I'll add another one. How about the Blazers potentially in that scenario? And then the 2 East teams with Milwaukee and Philadelphia. So that's actually 9 teams, I think, that have at least a puncher's chance at winning a championship. So I'm 100% with you on that. But, Jonathan, let's get back to Team USA then. Who could push the U.S. in this scenario? Like, who's a team that you think the U.S. should absolutely be keeping their eyes on?
Well, Vegas says Serbia are the favorites after U.S., and I have to agree with them. We're talking about 6 NBA players on their roster with Nikola Jokic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Nemanja Bjelica, Boban Marjanovic, Milos Teodosic, and Marko Guduric, who just joined the Memphis Grizzlies, and not to mention Vasa Micic, who is waiting in the wings for the 76ers, might join them at some point. So that's a loaded roster. These guys have played together. They know each other from a very young age. They're very well coached. They've got
that picture's great.
Anyone who has love like that is gonna give the U.S. a run for their money. I mean, look at that. That's just pure.
Serbia is a great team, and they have their whole roster, and they're coming for the U.S. I don't think it's going to happen personally. I think the U.S. is going to win every game by double digits. I think they're the clear favorites still, but it's going to be fun. I mean, there's going to be some really good games in the group stage. What happens with Australia, Canada, Lithuania, the group of death. It's going to be fascinating.
Who's in the U.S.'s group, for those that don't know?
Greece.
No, Greece has. I'm not sure. It's going to be a cakewalk for them. The Group B, which is Australia, Canada, Lithuania, Senegal.
Right. That's a tough group.
That's a really tough group because Senegal takes the game off somebody, all of a sudden you're out of it altogether. Canada thinks that maybe they're medal contenders, and they might not even make it out. They lose Jamal Murray, Shea Alexander. That's pretty tough for them.
Sure, no doubt.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.